Part 10. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 91. Everyone agreed. This is indeed the truth. If it weren't for the gimmick of occupying the first player city in the server, who would pay attention to him? Let's go. There are many places worth investing in the online game of God's domain. There is no need to waste time in such a dead place. At this moment, the entire Broken Dream Island suddenly shook. At the same time, a server-wide announcement floated in front of billions of players. Ding! Server-wide announcement. The large dungeon Ancient Temple has appeared on Broken Dream Island. This dungeon is the only dungeon in the server that contains various engineering drawings. It is a must-have dungeon for all types of urban construction and production. For specific details about Ancient Temple, players are asked to explore on their own after entering the instance. Seeing this system announcement, the representatives of the consortium suddenly stopped as they left. Everyone looked at the representative of the Rockefeller Consortium. The latter stiffly twitched the corner of his mouth. How about, let's think about it again. Give him a chance. An hour later, a large number of players came after hearing the news and searched the entire Broken Dream Island, but could not find the entrance to the Ancient Temple dungeon. Damn it! Does this dungeon entrance require any secret means to trigger it? I've searched the entire Broken Dream Island, but I haven't found any shadows at the entrance to the dungeon. Could it be that I've gone to the Dragon City in front of me? Dragon City covers such a vast area, is it really possible? Oops. Lord Junlin, please open the door and let us in. Don't the bosses do business? Suchen's Dragon City faces the sea in the east and the other 3 sides are on land. Among them, the seaward side surrounds a concave bay and built a giant door that rises and falls. Since this city is called Dragon City, Suchen called the bay in the city Qinglong Bay. We are preparing to start merging the level 2 battleship dockyard. Suddenly the ground shook, and a dungeon entrance covering an area of tens of thousands of square meters suddenly appeared in the southwest corner of Dragon City. Astonishingly, it is a copy of Ancient Temple. Seeing this scene, Suchen smiled slightly. It seems that my estimate is quite accurate. The entrance to the dungeon is right at the corner of the city wall. It does not occupy the road, and it is surrounded by Dragon City. In the future, if other players want to enter the Ancient Temple copy, they must enter my Dragon City first. In this case, well, let me calculate, the entrance fee must be charged. What about copy tax? After all, if it is swiped in my Dragon City, it is considered my personal property. There will also be a small amount of dungeon tax. Another one is to set up 2 more levels. For some hostile players, they will be directly blacklisted. Want to clear the copy? Beg me. The copy of Ancient Temple is the only source of engineering drawings in the Divine Continent. Dragon City has this copy, so it doesn't have to worry about becoming a supergiant city. At this moment, Suchen happily began to integrate his own shipyard. Take out 10 copies of Level 2 Battleship Dock Construction Order. Ding. The minimum consumption of fusion points for this fusion is 10 million. Do you want to fuse? I go. 10 million. This is the first time Suchen has encountered a fusion that requires so many fusion points. He still has 49.15 million fusion points on hand. Grit your teeth and get 20 million. Ding. After deducting fusion points, 20 million, fusion is in progress. Ding. Fusion successful. Congratulations on getting level 3 Battleship Dock Construction Order *1. Ding. Congratulations on successfully triggering a lucky event. Level 3 Battleship Dock Construction Order has been upgraded to Level 3 Ironclad Warship Dock Construction Order. Another lucky event was triggered. And it has been upgraded to a 3rd level Armored Battleship Dock. Suchen has experienced no less than 100 naval battles, large and small. Naturally, we know what the addition of the word iron armor to a third-level battleship means. Double the defense. Double the impact. A third-level battleship equipped with an iron-armored shell can completely crush lower-level battleships with its excellent hard shell. It is equivalent to owning a half-wooden iron-hulled ship in advance in the era of sailing wooden warships. Suchan immediately built the dock in Qinglong Bay. Ding. Under construction, time consuming, 7 days. So long? Suchan chose to speed up 100%. Anyway, he has money and is willful. Ding. 9 million gold coins have been deducted and the process is accelerating. Ding. Your level 3 ironclad battleship dock has been successfully constructed. Amazingly, a huge shipyard was built on Qinglong Bay. On Broken Dream Island, the teleportation array is controlled by Suchan. Guilds such as War Overlord and Sakura Purgatory want to attack only through air transportation and sea transportation. Large scale for air transportation, currently there are only goblin airships. Flying pets such as the giant eagle of the Viking Guild can only be transported individually. Especially at present, pet mounts are not yet popular. If you want to rely on flying pet transport personnel, you may not be able to transport one in a month. Guild. And Suchan has a black dragon clone, which can absolutely suppress these flying pets or goblin airships. The other is sea transportation. The guild can rent merchant ships or low-level warships in the main city, and the rent is expensive. But the capacity is huge. Not only can it transport people, but it can also transport large-scale engineering equipment. Suchan doesn't like near-shore defense. Taking the initiative is the best defense. Building a batch of third-level armored warships to fight against the enemy outside Broken Dream Island is the best defense. The best way. And after this battle, these warships can continue to attack enemy cities and expand his territory for him. Ding. Please select the number of level 3 ironclad battleships to build, the maximum number of parallel builds, 5. The cost of building a single level 3 ironclad battleship, 10 million gold coins, and the time required, 7 days. Ding. After deducting 50 million gold coins, we have chosen to accelerate manufacturing at 100% full capacity. After 1 hour, you can receive level 3 ironclad battleship *5. A shipyard can build up to 5 warships at the same time. Currently, 20 warships can block the entire sea around Broken Dream Island. A shipyard can fully meet the construction needs. It's time to go to the slave market. The city lord's palace needs servants and administrative officers. Other places also need various types of personnel to maintain order. Controlling warships also requires a large number of sailors. Look at the time, the limited time auction has begun. With his black gold status, Suchan directly entered the special VIP auction. At this moment, Yun Feiyan made a video call, and together with his cute little white rabbit, he congratulated. Brother Junlin, the construction of Dragon City is successful, congratulations. 2 beauties, one big and one small, complement each other and are full of smiles, which is very eye-catching. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 92. Brother Junlin, I really want to visit your Dragon City. The cute little white rabbit said coquettishly. Suchan smiled. It's time to open the Dragon City and open the entrance to the ancient temple dungeon. After thinking about it, there are a total of 100 level 50 guards in the outpost camp. First, 16 camp guards were arranged, guarding the 4 gates of Dragon City. In addition, 40 guards were arranged, divided into 4 teams, to patrol the city. Anyone who disturbs public order or hostile forces enters the city will be hacked to death. 4 guards, guarding Ancient Times Temple dungeon entrance, collect taxes and fees. Call 30 more guards to guard at the foot of the volcano, prohibiting anyone from climbing. The remaining 10 guards will stay in the outpost camp to maintain minimum operation. At the same time, Yunfiian, men will be given a small number of core personnel such as Pet Little White Rabbit have the right to visit the inner city. Do these things. The huge dragon city gate slowly opens. Players who have been waiting outside the gate for a long time rush in. Click. Click. A series of cold lights suddenly appeared. The heads of more than a dozen players were separated. The Lord of Junlin City has an order. Those who disturb public order will be killed without mercy. Queue up to enter the city and pay the 1 silver coin entrance fee voluntarily. 4 level 50 guards, holding long spears, stood in front of the city gate, glaring murderously at the players outside. The tips of the spears were dripping with blood. The surrounding players were so frightened that they hurriedly backed away. Oh my God! So cruel. Kill the person first, then talk about the rules. Do you think it's irritating or not? The entry fee is 1 silver coin. Why don't you go grab the money? It's too dark. Although the exchange rate between game currency and cash has dropped a lot now, 1 silver coin costs dozens of dollars, which is indeed too expensive. The entrance fee to Jingtao City is only 10 copper coins, but here it has increased tenfold. If you don't get in, you might as well go outside and do the fish monster mission, and at least you can get some small money. Some players retreated. However, guild members had to pay fees to enter the city. There is no way. The only entrance to the ancient temple instance where the engineering drawings can be revealed is in Dragon City. In order to prevent his guild from being eliminated, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and pay the high entrance fee. Yunfiian came over with a group of Fire Phoenix Guild members. Looking at the towering city wall that is 100 meters high with eyes full of shock. Sister, your brother's Dragon City is so spectacular. The cute little white rabbit raised his little head and exclaimed. Yunfiian knew how much capital investment was needed to build such a huge city, so he was even more shocked. Unexpectedly, in just 2 hours, Junlin's brother built a huge city from the ground. It seems that he doesn't like the little money I prepared. Yunfiian originally built a city for Suchen and urgently raised millions of gold coins. This was just to allow Suchen to have a defensible city before the war. Unexpectedly, in just 2 hours, they even spent the construction cost. A huge city worth hundreds of millions has been built. They were about to pay the city entry fee. The 4 guards bowed slightly to Yunfiian and said the Lord of Junlin City has ordered that all members of the Fire Phoenix Guild will be exempted from paying the city entry fee. Ah! The cute little white rabbit jumped up in surprise. Yunfiian also felt warm in her heart. Behind her, the women's army of the Fire Phoenix Guild were all smiling. Although the entry fee is not too much, it represents a kind of recognition and recognition. This kind of status. Especially since other players need to pay admission fees, this sense of superiority immediately arises. Depend on. They also offer special treatment. This is too discriminatory. Who told the Fire Phoenix Guild to be all beauties? If you have the ability, go ahead and change your personality. We may give you a discount on the city entrance fee. Guard brother, I am a legal lowly, light and soft, can my entry fee be waived? Enter the city. An inner city with a height of 100 meters appeared in front of everyone. I didn't expect the boss of King's Landing to build an inner city. This scale, the cost must be hundreds of millions of gold coins. You are so rich, no wonder you can open a money bank. I feel so sad. Yunfiian glanced around. Because the land has not yet been developed, only some functional buildings have been built in the inner city. The outer city was empty, so it was easy to find the entrance to the ancient temple instance in the corner. Yunfiian said to the members with a solemn expression. We are not here to visit and play. The war will start in 3 days. We must create artillery drawings and gunpowder formulas within 1 day, and then quickly organize manpower for production. Since we, Fire Phoenix, have formed a deadly alliance with the God of War Guild. We must coexist and die with Dragon City. Suchen used a virtual character model to enter the special VIP auction. This time, there is a hot cat lady shopping guide to serve Suchen. Dear Mr. Junlin, welcome to the special VIP auction, Slave Market. I am your exclusive shopping guide Xiaomina. Xiaomina looked a little shy, and the black tail behind her swept around uneasily. Suchen sat on the soft sofa and said, I need 3 reserve officers who are graduates of the Royal Administrative Service. 30 professionally trained servants aged around 20, women only. 500 slave warriors from the warrior principality as my city security personnel. In addition, there are 100 orc peons, 200 women's business school students, and 3,000 sailors from the merchant principality. And 5,000 artillerymen, preferably dwarves. Suchen has countless treasures and is extremely skilled. State the types and number of slaves needed. Xiaomina quickly wrote it down. After some calculations, the price arrived at, making this catwoman's cute eyes widen. 7.2 million gold coins. His face instantly turned red. The higher the customer's price for purchasing slaves, the more generous Xiaomina's commission will be as a shopping guide. She was so excited that she almost stuttered when speaking. Dear Mr. Junlin, according to your request, a total of 7.2 million gold coins are needed to purchase these slaves. I will apply to the manager later and I should be able to give you the final price of 7 million. In addition, the requirement for 5,000 artillerymen is really huge. If all the required races are dwarves, it may take a long time. Suchen nodded. Dwarf slaves are indeed relatively rare. Naturally, there are even fewer dwarf slaves who know how to use artillery. It's okay. Try to arrange it as a dwarf, but time is tight. It's best to bring it to Dragon City now. Okay, dear Mr. Junlin, Mina will handle it for you, please wait a moment. Xiaomina brought a cup of fragrant tea to Suchen, and then trotted to deal with the terms. Her little black tail was raised up and down, obviously very excited. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 93. Soon. Xiaomina finished handing over all the slaves Suchen needed. Suchen immediately appointed the 3 backup administrative officers as Dragon City administrative officers, in charge of basic government affairs of Longcheng, such as distributing tasks, registering land, calculating taxes, etc. The 30 maids were arranged to the city lord's mansion. The originally empty mansion immediately became alive. The pretty maids were busy cleaning the house, taking care of potted plants, and making cakes and fruits. 500 slave soldiers, 3,000 sailors, and 5,000 artillerymen were all arranged by Suchen for training in the barracks. Because it is just a simple training, mainly to improve the attributes, these slaves can officially take up their posts in one day. The last 100 orc laborers were each given 10 mining pickaxes, climbing ladders, and backpacks by Suchen, and were sent to the volcano to mine. They are the simplest tools and the mining speed is very slow. After buying some professional mining equipment from the dwarves in the future, you can speed up the mining of ancient ores. Well, it's time to go to the dwarf Bronzebeard tribe and recruit dwarf craftsmen. Defense towers, rapid-fire artillery, mage towers, silver-level city wall upgrades, and golden mount battle armor all require dwarven craftsmen to build. The matter in Dragon City came to an end, and Suchen immediately teleported to Shinwei City. Then take the Black Dragon and fly all the way west. This is the Nordic service area. The solitary mountain of the dwarves is located 1,000 kilometers west of the Falcon Plateau. The flight lasted 6 hours. A high mountain towering in the vast plain suddenly appeared in front of you. The solitary mountain is tens of thousands of meters high and is surrounded by plains as far as the eye can see, hence its name. This is where the dwarves have lived for tens of thousands of years. The entire solitary mountain is located in a huge mineral vein. As time went by, the interior and bottom of the lonely mountain were hollowed out by the dwarves, and an extremely prosperous city was built. At the same time, the place has become extremely prosperous because of the superb equipment-making skills of the dwarves. Along the way, you can constantly see traders and/or merchants from all over the world, coming to the dwarves to sell or and purchase sophisticated equipment. Ding! You discovered the new map Lonely Mountain and gained experience points *1000. Ding! Your Dragon King bloodline resonates with the soul of the dwarf ancestor Gus Han King Muraden, and is blessed by the soul of Gus Han King Muraden. Your true dragon body's blood return speed is add 1%. The current blood return speed is 8%. A streak of cocky earth energy rose from the lonely mountain and fell on Suchen. It immediately warmed Suchen's whole body. The blood recovery speed of the true dragon body has been increased again. I didn't expect that a visit to the dwarves would have such benefits. Black Dragon G Mengli swooped down, and Suchen came to the foot of the towering lonely mountain. As expected, he saw a large number of players from the Nordic service area here. Regardless of the long journey, I came here specifically to hand over the task of the dwarves. Just to increase the reputation of the dwarves, so that my reputation level can reach the most basic friendly level, so that I can buy equipment from the dwarves. Quick! Run faster! Little rookie, did the Viking Guild send you here to see the scenery? Hurry and unload the ore to the Dark Iron tribe. Spread! All spread out! This is the ore cart of God's Whip Guild. If it hits someone, don't blame us for not warning it. When Suchen came to the foot of the mountain, he found many old acquaintances guilds. The Viking Guild, the Whip of God, and even the Sakura Purgatory in Country R. The players in these guilds were all trying their best to reach Gus Han. Ore is transported. There are people carrying it, and there are also ore trucks. The largest one is the Sakura Purgatory Guild in Country R. The giant meat grinding chariot was actually transformed into a giant ore transport truck. And this time they actually let them found a bone horse. Although it is not a war horse, it is very suitable for pulling mine carts. Giant ore transport trucks are transported there, and the gravel roads on the road are pressed with deep ruts. Master, what are they doing? Black Dragon G Mengli turned into a girl, cuddled up to Suchen, and asked curiously. From time to time, she stretched out her tongue and licked her lips, as if she always wanted to spray a few hot dragons on these ore transport trucks. Suchen frowned slightly. Logically speaking, the dwarves belong to the light camp, and there should not be evil camp players such as the Purgatory Guild. But since they have appeared, it means that the dwarves have undergone some big changes. Oh! My brother! You actually came, which really surprises me. Balin, the prince of the Bronzebeard tribe, heard the guard's report and immediately came out to greet Suchen in person. Players along the way obviously saw Balin and knew his identity. But no one came to flatter or compliment him. They even deliberately avoided Balin. I don't know where this fool came from, he actually chose to contact Balin, the prince of the Bronzebeard tribe. He is really stubborn. Haha. Among the three major dwarf tribes, the one least likely to become the king of Gus Han is the Bronzebeard tribe. This guy's investment is destined to be in vain. Suchen and Balin hugged. Seeing the worry in the latter's eyebrows, he asked Balin, "My brother, have you encountered anything troublesome?" Balin led Suchen into Gus Han. He said at the same time, "Well, to be honest with brothers Junlin, when I returned to the tribe this time, I wanted to report the good news to my father. Unexpectedly, my father was assassinated and now his life is in danger." Assassinated? Suchen frowned slightly. He remembered. At this time, it should be the time when the three major dwarf tribes, Bronzebeard, Black Iron, and Wild Hammer, are competing for the throne of Lonely Mountain King. Among them, the Bronzebeard tribe was originally the most promising. Will be mysteriously defeated one day later. The Black Iron and Wild Hammer tribes launched a tribal war. It lasted for 3 years before the new Lonely Mountain King was finally decided. However, at that time, the dwarves also suffered from serious internal strife and became a small tribe. It was eventually annexed by the evil camp. Suchen came here not only to recruit craftsmen, but also to reverse the course of the game and help Balin, the prince of the Bronzebeard tribe, sit on the throne of the Lonely Mountain King. In this way, Suchen you can get the support of the entire dwarf tribe. Thinking of this, Suchen said to Balin, I happen to know a little healing skills, maybe I can help a little. Balin shook his head sadly and said it's useless. We used the water of life from the elves, but it failed to heal our father's injuries. Ordinary healing techniques are no longer useful. Suchen curled his lips and patted Balin on the shoulder. Believe me, brother, I can do it, and it's not just a simple treatment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 94. Balin brought Suchen to Iron Forge, the heroic city of the Bronzebeard tribe. An underground city located inside a lonely mountain. When the dwarves around him saw Suchen, they all paid attention to show their respect. With a reputation value of 1.65 million, it is enough to gain the respect of all the dwarves of the Bronzebeard tribe. In Iron Forge, Suchen saw the old king of the Bronzebeard tribe lying on the hospital bed in critical condition. At this time, the old king's face was like gold paper, and his breathing was vague. His brows were furrowed, and even at the end of his life, he seemed to be suffering from great pain. Can I see your father's wound? Suchen asked. Balin nodded. He had 100% trust in Suchen. Lifting the gauze on the old king's abdomen, Suchen saw a hideous wound. Blood kept coming out of the wound, and there was a faint trace of black air. Really? Seeing this trace of black energy, Suchen knew something in his heart. Your father's wound was not a simple blade wound, but a curse. Suchen said calmly. Balin nodded quickly and said the assassin's weapon is indeed attached with a vicious curse. We invited the best priests, but they can't remove it. Brother Junlin. Suchen smiled slightly and gave Balin a reassuring look. The latter's eyes suddenly burst into hope. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and did not dare to disturb Suchen's movements. Suchen calmly took out a purple gold coin from his backpack, and held it in his hand. Then he flicked it back and forth over the wound on the king's abdomen. Be affected by the effect of purple gold coins to drive away evil spirits and avoid evil. The black air lingering on the wound gradually dissipated and emitted a harsh, ghost-like scream. Suchen secretly worked hard, making himself look like his veins were exposed and sweat was visible on his forehead. Keep flicking and doing it dozens of times. The roar of the evil ghost had long since disappeared, and Suchen suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, fortunately, I have fulfilled my destiny and finally expelled the curse from your father's body. Suchen said with a weak look. At this time, the old king's face, which was originally as golden as paper, was returning to ruddy color at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing that Suchen had exhausted all his energy to save his father, he looked so weak. Bahrain was so moved that he couldn't remember it. His eyes were red, he beat his chest heavily with his right hand, and solemnly swore. The ancestors of Gushan are here. In this life, I, Bahrain, will only regard Junlin as my brother with a different surname. Balin is the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, and Junlin is the king of the Bronzebeard tribe. Bahrain is the king of the Lonely Mountain, and Junlin is the king of the Lonely Mountain. If he violates this oath, Bahrain is willing to be punished by his ancestors. Ding. You gain the trust of Balin, the prince of the dwarf Bronzebeard tribe, and gain the reputation of the Bronzebeard tribe at 10 million. Suchen was secretly happy when he heard the system prompt. What a simple boy. But he only spent one purple gold coin and got another 10 million reputation. This is much easier than working hard for prospecting in Baitao forest for a whole day. At the same time, in another part of the Lonely Mountain, in the Rust City of the Wild Hammer tribe, a player, shrouded in black robes, was suddenly shocked. With a hoarse voice, he said to the king of the Wild Hammer tribe Okuyama, "Dear king, the curse of the old king of the Bronzebeard tribe has been lifted." Ocean, the king of the Wild Hammer tribe, was majestic, staring with a pair of big copper bell-like eyes, and said in a rough voice, "Dismissed? Who did it?" The black-robed player slowly shook his head. "I don't know, but, respected king, I still say what I said, to cut the weeds must be eradicated. Now is the best time to get rid of Bronzebeard's opponent. Tomorrow is the day when the new Gushan king ascends the throne. Don't be soft-hearted now." Okuyama's chest rose and fell violently, his eyes flickering on and off. After a long time, he smashed the wooden table in front of him with a hammer and nodded fiercely to the black-robed player. An evil smile appeared on the corner of the latter's mouth, and he bowed and retreated into the darkness. Iron Forge. The old king's condition has stabilized. With the dwarf's physique, it only takes 2 or 3 days to recover. Balin brought Suchen to the hall and gave him warm hospitality. He also called the most beautiful dwarf girl from the Bronzebeard tribe to cheer for Suchen. However, Suchen really wasn't interested in this girl who was 1 meter tall and as tall as a tree trunk. "Bahrain, my brother, I heard that tomorrow is the day when the new Gushan king will ascend the throne. Don't you have any interest in the throne of Gushan king?" Suchen asked. Balin raised his head and drank a large glass of wine, blushing and said dejectedly, "Haha, what a lonely mountain king. The battle for ores and the battle for skills are nothing compared to the Dark Iron and Wild Hammer tribes. Our ore in Bidaolan has just been mined, and we will not be able to supply it in a short time. The 3 strongest engineering masters of our Bronzebeard tribe were poached by the Dark Iron and Wild Hammer tribes. Not to mention the final battle, which has always been the biggest weakness of our Bronzebeard tribe." Suchen patted Bahrain on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Bahrain, my brother, you forgot, there is me. As for the ore, I also dug some." Balin looked at him with drunken eyes. "Brother, the water here is too muddy, I don't want you to get involved, besides, how much ore can you have alone?" Suchen opened the Dragon City information bar. After looking at the progress of the orc slave labor, 145 ancient ores have been mined so far. There are already 145 ores. Ha 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 ha. Balin patted Suchen on the shoulder and laughed. "Brother, thank you for making me happy. I appreciate your kindness." Immediately afterwards, another glass of wine was poured into the mouth. The Dark Iron and Wild Hammer tribes now pay hundreds of thousands or millions of ores to their ancestors. The 145 ores of the King's Landing brothers are really nothing. Use it? Suchen smiled, didn't care, and said, "In the battle of skills, maybe I can also help a little." Hearing Suchen's words, Balin seemed to have remembered something. He suddenly woke up from his drunken state and looked at Suchen in surprise. "Brother Junlin, are you not only a legendary prospecting master, but also a legendary engineering master?" Suchen touched his nose and said, Right now, I haven't gotten started with engineering yet." The surprise on Balin's face suddenly froze. Suchen added, "But I have been smart since I was a child. I haven't even started yet, so I can learn it now." Bahrain started pouring wine into his mouth, 1 cup after another. Suchen added, "In the last martial arts competition, I can also help brother Bahrain. After all, brother, I have killed an angel." Puff. The wine in Balin's mouth spurted out wildly. Ignoring wiping the wine from his beard, he grabbed Suchen's hand tightly and said, Brother, you, you, have really killed an angel. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 95. Suchen nodded and gestured with his hand just like this, kill instantly with one sword. Bahrain. Someone come. Bring me 10 more barrels of wine. Today, my brother Junlin and I will not get drunk until we return. Suchen, don't you believe that I can kill an angel with one sword? Balin held the oak wine glass. Brother, you have to be considerate of me, verb, I can only keep up with your thinking if I get myself drunk. Suchen laughed dumbly. When he told the truth, Bahrain didn't believe him. However, Suchen needs Bahrain to issue the Battle of the Solitary Mountain King mission to him. Only after receiving the task can he help him win the Gushan King of the Dwarves. Only by himself can he gain the support of the entire dwarf clan. Snapped. Suchen slapped Balin on the face. The latter was immediately stunned. He looked at Suchen blankly. The dwarf waiters around him trembled when they saw this scene. The prince dared to hit him, and he slapped him so hard, his face was swollen. Master Junlin must be too courageous. I rub, this slap is so good. Suchen felt secretly happy in his heart. But on his face, he looked like he hated steel and said, if you don't have dreams as a human being, what's the difference between that and salted fish? Balin, you are the prince of the Bronzebeard tribe. Your father is ill in bed, and the hope of the entire Bronzebeard tribe falls on you. Now is the most critical moment in the battle for the Lonely Mountain King. Is this how you let down the tribe's hopes? Bahrain covered his face and struggled. I snapped. Suchen gave another slap with his backhand. A real man dares to draw his sword even if he is in desperate situation. You dare? Are you a man? Bahrain's eyes were red and his breathing was heavy. But, we have no advantage at all. Snapped. Another slap. Hiding to show weakness when you have no advantage. Do you think that if we show weakness to our opponents, they will let us go? Snapped. Bahrain, you are so naive. Snapped. Balin hugged his swollen head like a pig's head tightly and begged for mercy. Brother, stop beating, it hurts too much, I can't stand it anymore. Then hurry up and give me the Battle of the Solitary Mountain King mission. You are my brother in Bahrain, I cannot harm you. The final battle of force will really kill people. Oh no. This one-minded guy. Suchen was moved but also a little speechless. Just when Suchen was thinking about how to get this task, a dwarf waitress ran in from outside with a frightened expression. Your Highness. There is an assassin. Chi. A cold light suddenly rose, and the head of the dwarf waitress fell. At the same time, more than a dozen black-robed assassins appeared from all over the hall, and cold light with the aura of death shrouded Suchen and the dwarf prince Balin. Look. His figure is obviously that of a player from the evil camp. Ha ha. God help me. Suchen laughed. He drew out the heavy sword awakening palm of the world with his backhand. A strike of fire dragon slash. Minus 6581. 2x crit, minus 13,058. Minus 6,650. The black-robed assassins swarmed around them, and more than 6,000 horrific injuries were caused immediately above their heads. Some even triggered double critical hits, dealing tens of thousands of points of damage. They all fell to the ground without even starting the burning associated with the raging flame dragon slash. The remaining black-robed assassins showed horrified looks. Nanny. There were actually 13,000 injuries. Not good. He is King's Landing, let's go. Want to leave? It's too late. Suchen took a big step and struck out a crossblade with the heavy sword in his hand. All directions will be destroyed. The criss-crossing golden light waves rotated, strangling all the escaping assassins to death. Ding! The assassins sent by the Sakura Inferno Guild, supporters of the Wild Hammer tribe King Okuyama, have all been killed by you, and you have gained add 1.6 million in Bronzebeard tribe reputation. Ding. The king of the Bronzebeard tribe has been killed by an assassin. Prince Bahrain automatically becomes the new king of the Bronzebeard tribe. Ding. An extremely dangerous breath is coming towards you. You hear a system beep. Suchen was shocked. Not good. They are attacking in the east and in the west. Crack. The necklace in Balin's arms broke into pieces. This necklace is not only a kind of protection, but also represents the life of his father. Father, no. Balin's eyes were red, and he was about to rush to the room where the old king was. Boom. A giant hammer smashed him away. Click. One of Balin's protective waistbands shattered. It means that the hammer just now was enough to kill him. Life. Immediately afterwards, a muscular man with a height of 1.8 meters and a width of 1.8 meters walked out of the darkness holding a heavy hammer. The first warrior of the Wild Hammer tribe, bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer. Balin struggled to get up from the ground and stared at the strong man, his eyes red as blood. Suchen also looked at this guy's attributes. Bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer. Level 100. HP, 300,000. Attack, 50,000. Defense, 5,000. Skill, Storm Hammer Earth-Shattering Blow Fury. Description: the first warrior of the Dwarf Wild Hammer tribe, he is extremely bloodthirsty during the battle and will never stop until his opponent is smashed to pieces of blood. At the same time, his height of 1.8 meters is also the highest among the entire dwarves. I wipe it. 50,000 attack. Suchen's blood volume is now 9,240 points. Even if he adds the Thunder Dragon, it is only more than 10,000 points. He can't resist the opponent's blow at all. You killed my father. Balin spat out the blood in his mouth and spoke word by word through gritted teeth. Twabazui's expression was indifferent. Dead people don't need so many questions. At that moment, he rushed over and hit Bahrain with another heavy hammer. Bang! Bahrain was knocked away again. At the same time, another piece of protective equipment shattered. I heard that His Highness Bahrain owns 9 pieces of epic protective equipment. Hey, it's really not easy to find an object that I can smash 9 times. Boom. Boom, boom. Facing the first warrior of the Wild Hammer tribe, Balin has no power to fight back. The protective equipment on his body is being consumed quickly. Brother Junlin, leave quickly. Even in this situation, Balin did not forget to remind Suchen to escape. The latter glanced at the experience value in the experience storage tank. He said, Balin, your protective equipment is good, remember to make it for me next time of you. While talking, he walked towards bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer. Hello. Big guy, call daddy and come listen. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 96. Suchen's provocation immediately angered Twabazui. The latter turned his majestic figure and looked at him coldly. Thin human, irritating me is the stupidest thing you have done in your life, no. A golden bolt struck from the heavy sword. Shura's blow. The extremely dangerous aura contained in the training made Twabazui feel the threat of death for the first time in his life. However, he had no way to dodge this horizontal blow. Moreover, Twaba Hammer, who has always believed in his own power, has never been in the habit of wearing protective equipment. The golden horse passed by. A line of blood suddenly appeared on his waist. Minus 310,000. Twaba Hammer's movements froze in mid-air. The heavy hammer in his hand suddenly fell down. Who are you? Suchen returned the sword to its sheath. He said calmly, dead people don't need so many questions. Blood suddenly burst out from Twaba Hammer's waist. The body split into two halves and fell to the ground. Ding. Bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer has been killed by you. The clone Black Dragon G Mengli gained experience value *1 million, level leap experience bonus. Ding. You rescued the king of the Bronzebeard tribe Bahrain and gained the reputation of the Bronzebeard tribe, 10 million. Ding. Congratulations. The clone Black Dragon G Mengli has reached level 16. In the previous battle on Broken Dream Island, Suchen led the Dragon Rider to kill countless people. G Mengli rose all the way to level 15. Now she killed the Twaba Hammer, but she didn't expect to be promoted to another level. Suchen picked up the Twaba Hammer that dropped equipment. Ding. You get the epic equipment Wanjun Heavy Hammer *1. Ding. You get epic equipment Savage Heavy Armor *1. Wanjun Heavy Hammer. Level, Epic level. Occupational restrictions, Shield Fighting, Mad Fighting. Level requirements, Level 100. Attack, 35,000. Additional attributes, Strength add 13, Strength add 13, Strength add 13, Strength add 13. Description: use the Dwarf Divine Anvil. The epic weapon created by it has full strength attribute points, and one blow can shake the mountain and crack the earth. One weapon, plus attack 35,000. Coupled with some attack amplification skills, no wonder this guy's basic attack is as high as 50,000. However, Suchen cannot use the level 100 equipment. The other piece of Savage Heavy Armor is also a level 100 armor. Break it down directly now. Ding. You get fusion points, 2 million. Ding. You get fusion points, 2 million. Killing this guy costs Suchen 3.1 million experience points. In exchange for 4 million fusion points, 1 million G Mengli upgrade experience, and 10 million Bronzebeard tribe reputation, it was a good deal. Suchen turned around and looked at Balin. The latter was huge with his mouth open. He stared blankly at Suchen and the Twaba Hammer that was divided into two parts on the ground. Suchen shrugged. You see, I never brag. When you say one sword, just one sword, never more cuts. Bahrain. 1 minute later. System prompt sounds. Ding. You have received a legendary mission from the Bronzebeard tribe King Bahrain, the Battle of the Solitary Mountain King. Assist the king of the Bronzebeard tribe Bahrain to win the or conflict battle of skills competition of force. Seize the throne of the dwarf Lonely Mountain King. Mission reward: you will get the full support of the new Gus Han King. Ding. The Battle of the Solitary Mountain King mission points list has been opened for you. Please check your individual/guild rankings yourself. Suchen clicked on the mission points list. Battle of the Solitary Mountain King mission points list or battle points list. Countdown to the end of the or struggle mission, 10 minutes. The total points of the Dark Iron tribe, 10.62 million, the total points of the Wild Hammer tribe, 10.51 million, the total points of the Bronzebeard tribe, 0. Number 1, Black Iron tribe, Whip of God, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 1.32 million. Number 2, Wild Hammer tribe, Sakura Inferno, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 1.31 million. Third place, Black Iron tribe, Viking Guild, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 1.1 million. Number 4, Wild Hammer tribe. Number 101, Bronzebeard tribe, War God Guild, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 0. Well, it seems that there are quite a few guilds and players who have accepted this task. Suchen actually ranked 101st, which was the last place. And among the 101 places, only Suchen's God of War Guild is the only one that supports the Bronzebeard tribe. The accumulated points of the other two major tribes have reached tens of millions. There are still 10 minutes left before the ore battle mission ends. Suchen immediately asked the dwarf Prince Balin to lead him to the ancestor temple of the dwarves. The ancestral temple of the dwarves is dedicated to the only person among the dwarfs who achieved the status of god thousands of years ago, Muraden, king of the solitary mountain. He once followed the emperor of the great Yan Empire and conquered the world. Finally died in the battle between gods and demons. Balin looked solemn as he strode towards the temple of the ancestors and said to Suchen, "Brother, we don't have much ore, it's far from enough to compete with the other two tribes. We gave up on the ore dispute. In the battle of skills, I will try my best to fight for it. Although my current level can only create epic equipment, I must fight for my father and the Bronzebeard tribe. As for the final force competition, brother, it depends on you." Bahrain's eyes were red, implying great grief, anger, and revenge, and he patted Suchen heavily on the shoulder. The latter nodded. "Actually, I think the dispute over the ore can still be saved." Suchen hasn't finished speaking yet. Balin waved his hand and said, "Brother, stop talking. This time we went to the temple of the ancestors just to take advantage of the opportunity to pay tribute to the ore, pray to the ancestor Muraden, and bless us to win the next 2 levels. The closer you are to the temple of the ancestors, the more players will be around you. There are only 10 minutes left before the battle for ore finally ends. Supporters of the 2 major tribes, Dark Iron and Wild Hammer, are seizing this last moment to compete for first place. There are even Nordic guilds and Sakura Purgatory in country. There will be a fight just to stop the opponent's ore cart from entering the temple of the ancestors. Quick! There is only 110,000 points difference between us, Wild Hammer and Dark Iron. If we send this car of ore, we can overtake the score. Stop their minecart. If you see Nordic guild players carrying ores on their backs, kill them all. The insidious and cunning evil camp, face my rain of fire. Summon the undead. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 97. Suchen and Balin strode toward the temple of the ancestors without attracting the attention of any surrounding players. Although someone has identified Bahrain, no one paid any attention. Only a few Sakura Purgatory Guild players reported Bahrain's location information to the guild. Takeneo Kuroda is the second son of Mayoyo Kuroda, the president of the Sakura Purgatory Guild. This legendary mission, the Battle of the Lonely Mountain King, was handled by him, and he was on the line with the king of the Wild Hammer tribe, Okuyama. The outcome of this mission was crucial to him. The eldest brother Kuroda Ichiro has become a senior government official in country R. In order to compete for the family industry, Takeneo Kuroda must take advantage of the God's Domain online game and do his best to show his father his abilities. Even if I can't surpass my eldest brother, I still have to strive for an equal share of the family property. Second young master, this assassination was only half successful. A Sakura Purgatory Guild member reported to Kuroda Takeneo. The latter was covered in a black robe and frowned when he heard this. What does half the battle mean? Report to the second young master. The old king of the Bronzebeard tribe has been killed, but Prince Balin escaped. He was seen at the temple of the ancestors. In addition, the king of country Z has become a supporter of the Bronzebeard tribe Bahrain, and the person we were responsible for the assassination this time was killed by him. But so far, the points of the God of War Guild in King's Landing are still 0, which is nothing to worry about. Kuroda Takei frowned, and then relaxed again. King's Landing, haha, my father was defeated by him last time. If I can defeat him this time, my father will definitely be impressed by me. Immediately afterwards, Kuroda Takeneo asked again, where is the number 1 warrior of the Wild Hammer tribe, Twaba Hammer? Did he also fail to kill Balin and King's Landing? The reporter hesitated for a moment and said in a deep voice, bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer, there is a 90% chance that he has been killed by King's Landing. What? Kuroda Takeneo suddenly turned around. A pair of stern triangular eyes, which were flickering on and off. That's right, it must be the sword from the battle on Broken Dream Island again. If he can kill an angel, he can naturally kill the Twaba hammer. However, a sword like this can only be used once a day, or even a week, or a month. Then, what else can you use to deal with the upcoming force competition? Hee. Takeneo Kuroda comes to the king's hall again. Dear king, the old king of the Bronzebeard tribe has been killed, and the assassination mission went very smoothly. Bang. The king of the Wild Hammer tribe Okuyama kicked the table in front of him and broke his body. Smoothly? My king's best warrior is dead, but that little bastard from Bahrain is still alive, and you actually told me it went well. The king of the Wild Hammer tribe Okuyama held the mountain hammer in his hand and stared coldly at Takeneo Kuroda, who was dressed in black robes. The latter was not afraid and said calmly, Your Majesty, little Balan is nothing to be afraid of. He has all the ores and skills. No match for me, Wild Hammer. As for force, Kuroda Takeneo took out a black heart with some pain. The heart beats continuously, and the grey air flows around it. With the evil heart given by the Dark Temple, the warriors of the Wild Hammer tribe will always be number one in the entire dwarf clan in terms of their military strength. The heart of evil was obtained from the Dark Temple by Takeneo Kuroda at a huge cost. It can increase the user's combat power tenfold in a short period of time. Of course, the side effects are also serious. One day later, the person who takes it will die suddenly. However, it is worth paying such a price for the victory in this battle of Lonely Mountain King. Okuyama, the king of the Wild Hammer tribe, suddenly stood up and stared at the evil heart in Kuroda Takeneo's hand. Good. Very good. Ha 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 ha. When I become the king of Gushan of the dwarves, you will be my national advisor. Hearing the promise from the king of the Wild Hammer tribe, Takei Kuroda curled his lips and bowed back into the darkness. When Suchen entered the ancestral temple, players from other guilds around are paying tribute or in an orderly manner to the statue of the dwarf ancestor Muraden, king of the Lonely Mountain who is sitting on the throne. Every tribute or placed on the divine table will turn into white light and disappear. Then it is converted into the reputation and points of the corresponding tribe. 1 ore adds 1 point and 0.01 reputation point. Sakura Purgatory. Although guilds such as God's Whip have more ore points, but the reputation exchanged is actually only more than 10,000 points. Suchen's reputation in the Bronzebeard tribe has now exceeded 20 million. The temple is guarded by powerful dwarf warriors. Players would not dare to bring their disputes outside to the temple. Otherwise, they will be killed by dwarf warriors. This also gave other players the courage to mock Suchen. Knowing that Suchen didn't dare to take action here, the Viking Guild players jumped out first. In the Falcon Plateau Cave, Suchen shot at thousands of Viking Guild players. During the battle on Broken Dream Island, Suchen even massacred 100,000 members of the Viking Guild. There is already a blood feud between the two. Now he sarcastically said, "Don't you think it's a bit stupid to pay tribute at this time? Tisk tisk, the points are still 0 so far. Dear Mr. Junlin, would you like me to give you some points? As long as you ask us, we will definitely give it to you, haha." Other guild players also looked here with a sneer. They could see that King's Landing, which was killing all the people on Broken Dream Island, was defeated. These players from Northern Europe and country were happy to see it. A cold light flashed in Suchen's eyes. Rebirth of the Ninth World, he has never had any scruples about killing people. He drew out the heavy sword from his waist and swept away with Fire Dragon Slash. Ding! The player Viking Helmsman has been killed by you. The clone Black Dragon G. Mengli gained experience points *250. Ding! The player Viking Mechanic has been killed by you. The clone Black Dragon G. Mengli gained experience points *280. Ding! With one move, 9 Viking Guild players were instantly killed by Suchen. The sudden scene shocked the other players around them. How dare he? He actually killed people openly in the dwarf ancestor temple. Good chance. There are powerful dwarf warriors guarding this place. This King's Landing is doomed. If Junlin dies this time, he will definitely be on the front page. The Viking Guild made a great success this time. The level 70 dwarf warriors stationed in the temple, holding a pair of axes or a giant hammer, strode towards Suchen with heavy steps. Murderous aura instantly filled the entire temple. Those who disturb the souls of our ancestors will be killed without mercy. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 98. 4 level 70 dwarf warriors rushed towards Suchen. The Bronzebeard tribe king Bahrain, who was about to pay tribute to the Or, was shocked. He quickly stood in front of Suchen. Junlin is my brother. Warriors, can you let him go? I, Balin, the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, am willing to vouch for him. The 4 dwarf warriors looked indifferent. The king cannot disturb the soul of ancestor Muraden. Your Majesty Bahrain, please get out of the way. If you disturb the rules of the temple, your status as a contender for the Lonely Mountain King will also be deprived of you. Bahrain's face darkened. Being deprived of his status as a contender for the Lonely Mountain King was tantamount to completely surrendering to the enemy who killed his father. He could not even avenge his father. But he thought of how many times Suchen had tried his best to help him and saved his father's life. Bahrain still stood up in front of Suchen, looking at the 4 dwarf warriors with firm eyes. Your Majesty Balin, you still have 1 minute to think. After 1 minute, if you insist on defending those who disturb the souls of your ancestors, we will announce to the entire dwarf race that you will be deprived of your status as a contender for the Lonely Mountain King. At the same time, the human behind you still can't hide. 1 Death. The surrounding players were very happy to see it. Interesting. The lives of 9 Viking Guild members could actually be exchanged for the Bronzebeard tribe to be eliminated directly, and even King's Landing could not escape death. This is a complete divine assist. Wonderful. How great is my Viking Guild? What you do today will definitely leave your name in history. I videotaped the entire process. Hee, get ready to grab the magic outfit. When Junlin dies, who knows what good stuff will come out. Suchen, who was standing behind Balin, frowned slightly. He was not afraid of the threat from the dwarf warriors. With the Lonely Mountain Guardian necklace and Devil Blood bottle around, he could still resist the 10,000 attack points of these dwarf warriors. Besides, there is also a single teleportation scroll. If he wants to leave, no one can stop him. However, he was unwilling to give up the Gushan King like this. Then my mind changed. Transform the Divine Dragon's ever-changing attributes of Dragon King's bloodline into Dwarf King's bloodline. Buzz. An invisible wave centered on Suchen and spread to all directions. The players didn't feel much at all. Balin stood in front of Suchen, as well as the dwarf warriors around him. Indeed, all of their bodies were shaken. Suddenly looking at Suchen. This is actually the bloodline of the Dwarf King that has not been seen for thousands of years. It is the king-level bloodline of ancestor Muraden. Although Balin, Ocean, and others are also kings, they are only tribal kings. The bloodline of the Dwarf King refers specifically to the bloodline of Muraden, the king of the Lonely Mountain. Since the war between gods and demons, Muraden died on the battlefield, and the bloodline of the Dwarf King has not appeared again. Unexpectedly, a human race actually possesses the blood of the Dwarf King of ancestor Muraden. Immediately afterwards, a cocky stream of light flew out from the statue of ancestor Muraden and enveloped Suchen. Ding! Your Dwarf King bloodline resonates with the soul of the dwarf ancestor Lonely Mountain King Muraden, and is blessed by the soul of Lonely Mountain King Muraden. The blood recovery speed of your true dragon body is at 1%. The current blood recovery speed is 9% in a blink. Suchen's blood recovery rate per second actually increased to 9%. With only 1% difference, his unparalleled evil madness can be activated permanently without worrying about losing blood. Suchen was secretly surprised. But when Bahrain and the surrounding dwarf warriors saw the statue of their ancestor Muraden, they actually performed miracles. Blessings came down and enveloped Suchen. Even more shocked, he actually received the blessing of his ancestors. The earthy yellow light circulated around Suchen's body, giving his aura the weight of the earth. Suchen looked at the dwarf warriors around him calmly. Why, do you still want to kill me? The four dwarf warriors looked at each other, but Nyano didn't dare to say anything. If they dare to kill the dwarf king's bloodline, which has not been seen for thousands of years, then they will be the sinners of the entire dwarf race. What's more, with the blessing of ancestor Muraden, Suchen is quite now that they have been recognized by their ancestor Muraden and have the gold medal to avoid death. Who dares to kill him openly in front of the statue of Muraden? After a long time, these dwarf warriors put on a stiff smile and saluted Suchen with his right hand and chest. You have the noble blood of the dwarf king, and you are blessed by your ancestor Muraden. We have offended you, please forgive me. Wow! Seeing the dwarf warrior who was originally murderous, in the blink of an eye he saluted Suchen to apologize. The surrounding players were in an uproar. Was there any mistake? Is this okay? He killed someone. He killed people in the temple of your ancestors. Are you going to let him go like this? Playing with Unum paralysis. I've said it before, games developed by people from country Z are never fair or reasonable. Is Junlin your father? Protect him like this. Complaint. Quit. Suchen took out his ears, pointed at the protesting players around him, and said to the dwarf warrior, "These people disturb me." The dwarf warrior immediately bowed and saluted. "I'm sorry, your majesty. We'll drive them out now." After that, the four dwarf warriors drove out the screaming players rudely. In an instant, only Suchen and Balin were left in the entire temple. The latter has not closed his mouth yet. Incomparable, he looked at Suchen in shock. "Brother, why didn't you tell me that you have the great bloodline of your ancestor Muraden?" Suchen shrugged. "This is not a big deal, it's very common." It's indeed very common. The divine dragon's ever-changing attributes can simulate most of the famous king-level bloodlines on the divine continent. A mere dwarf king's bloodline is just a thought. In response to Suchen's answer, Balin opened his mouth and didn't know. What should I say? I was interrupted by what just happened. There were only 2 minutes left before the end of the ore battle. Bahrain quickly knelt devoutly in front of the statue of his ancestor Muraden, took out piles of ore from the storage bag, and placed them on the divine table, pray to the ancestors. After digging out all the ores, the Bronzebeard tribe's points increased by 1,000 points. Compared with the tens of millions of points of Black Iron and Wild Hammer, there is a huge gap. Alas, this is all we can do. If the ore in Bidaolan could be discovered a few days earlier, maybe this ore dispute can turn around. After Balin finished praying, he sighed. Next to him, Suchen was standing in front of the divine case, taking out an ancient ore from his backpack. So far, 200 pieces have been dug up. These orcs are doing a pretty good job. The ore dug out by the orcs' hard work went directly into Suchen's personal backpack. The dark ancient ore is placed on the divine table. White light suddenly flashed. Ding! You paid tribute to the dwarf ancestor Muraden with an ancient ore and received add 100,000 points. Ding! You have been blessed by the dwarf ancestor Muraden and obtained the Lonely Mountain King Muraden's remnant soul *1. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 99. An ancient ore adds 100,000 points. Suchan's eyes lit up. Huh? What is this remnant soul of Muraden, king of the Lonely Mountain? Suchan looked at it. The remnant soul of the Lonely Mountain King Muraden. Level, holy level. Description, a wisp of the remnant soul of the dwarf Lonely Mountain King Muraden thousands of years ago. You seem to be able to hear vague roars and roars, but it seems to have no effect. Maybe the real dwarves can feel a hint of the majesty of their ancestors from it. What does this thing do? Suchan couldn't understand. This was the first time he had obtained such items. Put it in his backpack first. Continue to pay tribute to the ore. Ding. You paid tribute to the dwarf ancestor Muraden with an ancient ore and received add 100,000 points. Ding. You have been blessed by the dwarf ancestor Muraden and obtained the Lonely Mountain King Muraden's remnant soul *1. Ding. Beside. Balin, the king of the Bronzebeard tribe, was about to get up after paying tribute to the ore. From the corner of his eye, he saw Suchan also paying tribute. Moved in my heart. Even in the face of inevitable failure, he still paid tribute to the ore. Perhaps this is the spirit of the sword that Brother Junlin told me. At this moment, Balin actually had a new understanding of the so-called spirit of bright sword that Suchan casually talked about. At the same time, I admire Suchan's spiritual realm and cultivation even more. I don't have as many brothers as I do in Junlin. My father often said that people with noble character are quick to act but slow to speak. Once words are spoken, they must be wise in life. Brother Junlin is such a person. Balin couldn't help but look at Suchan with admiration, at the ore that Suchan paid tribute to, at the ordinary black appearance of the ore, until he discovered that under the ordinary appearance of the ore, there was something as tiny as a star looming. Star point. Buzz. Bahrain's mind felt like someone had hit it with a giant bell. After seeing clearly the ore that Suchan paid tribute to, Bahrain became drowsy. Brother Junlin, the tribute turned out to be, ancient ore. As the king of the dwarf Bronzebeard tribe, Balin has been in contact with various ores since he was a child. Naturally, he recognized the black ores that Suchan took out from his backpack. This is the building material of the 6 realms of gods and demons. The ultimate material that can infinitely improve building defense and durability. Brother Junlin actually has such a magical object. And even used it as tribute. Use this rare divine item to help me win the battle for ores. A moment. Tears blurred Balin's eyes. A man who was not afraid of death threats actually burst into tears at this moment. Suchan didn't notice anything strange about Balin. I paid 120 ancient ores along the way. It feels like it should be almost done. Then I looked at the points rankings. Battle of the Solitary Mountain King mission points list or battle points list. Countdown to the end of the or battle mission, 0 minutes and 30 seconds. The total points of the Dark Iron tribe, 10.67 million, the total points of the Wild Hammer tribe, 10.68 million, the total points of the Bronzebeard tribe, 12 million. Number 1, Bronzebeard tribe, God of War Guild, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 12 million. Number 2, Wild Hammer tribe, Sakura Purgatory, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 1.36 million. Third place, Black Iron tribe, Whip of God, Tribute Dwarf Ancestor or points, 1.35 million. Number 4, Black Iron tribe, Viking Guild. The total points of the Bronzebeard tribe have reached 12 million. And my own God of War Guild has instantly rushed from last place to first place. Moreover, the God of War Guild's points far exceed those of other guilds. Although there is still half a minute left in the countdown to the battle for ores. But because all the players were driven out of the Temple of the Ancestors by the dwarf warriors, the points equal to those of other guilds have been frozen. And Suchen also obtained a full 120 pieces, the remnant soul of the lonely mountain king Muraden. I don't know if this thing can be fused. As long as Suchen sees an item with a quantity of more than 2, he will have a conditioned impulse to fuse. Anyway, the fusion points are now over 30 million, so let's try fusion first. Maybe there will be some surprises. At the moment, he start infinite fusion. And outside the temple of the ancestors. At this time, tens of thousands of players have gathered. Because the temple is blocked by dwarf warriors, no player is allowed to enter. This means that the competition for the ore has ended early. The Sakura Purgatory Guild players let out loud cheers. Because of their efforts, at the last moment, they not only closed the gap of 110,000 points between the Wild Hammer and the Dark Iron tribe, even exceeded 10,000 points. The most important thing is that now the temple has been blocked and the points score has been fixed. The Nordic Guild, which supported the Dark Iron tribe, never had a chance to overtake the score. And in the ranking of the guild, Sakura Purgatory also tops the list, overtaking God's Whip Guild by 10,000 points and ranking first in the standings. Hidden behind the scenes, Takeneo Kuroda showed a confident smile. Sure enough, success only belongs to those who are prepared and work hard. Kuroda Takeneo immediately came to the royal palace of the Wild Hammer tribe. He tidied up his clothes first, took a deep breath, and met King Okuyama with a confident, calm, and confident temperament. "Dear Your Majesty the King, the ore dispute has come to an end early. Fortunately, the Wild Hammer tribe won the first place in this ore battle." King Ocean stood up suddenly. "Good. Very good. Takeneo Kuroda, you are great. He is worthy of being my future national master. When this king ascends the throne tomorrow, it will be the time when I will appoint you as the national advisor. The dwarves will definitely support the Sakura Purgatory Guild." King Okuyama laughed arrogantly, resounding throughout the palace. Takeuchi Kuroda curled his lips, bowed slightly to King Okuyama, and said in a calm and firm tone, "The ensuing battle of skills and competition of force are all under my control. For His Majesty, the next 2 competitions are just a formality. Tomorrow, I will change the title of Your Majesty to King of Gushan." King Ocean laughed loudly. He was very happy when he heard it. He shouted, "Come here, serve the wine. I would like to pay a toast to the Imperial Master." At this moment, a member of the Sakura Purgatory Guild rolled in and crawled in. He shouted in panic, "Second young master, it's not good. Something bad is happening." Kuroda Takeneo frowned and looked at the person with cold eyes. Holding back the disgust in his heart, he took the wine handed over by the dwarf maid, took a sip first, and then said slowly, "Don't panic when something happens, this is the first thing to do. First things first." This member ignored the second young master's scolding and said loudly, "Second young master, there is still 1 minute left before the end of the ore battle, and the points of the God of War Guild have already reached 5 million. Clang. The wine in Kuroda Takeneo's hand fell to the ground. "Nani? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 100. Outside the Temple of the Ancestors. There was already an uproar, exclamations, and shouts of abuse. Tens of thousands of players are watching helplessly at the bottom God of War Guild. At a rocket speed. From last to last, crazy rise. And the points jump very quickly. Each jump is worth 100,000 points. In just tens of seconds, the number soared to 5 million. In the guild's separate ranking, it has surpassed Sakura Purgatory and God's Whip and reached the top spot. Damn it! Where did this God of War Guild come from? Why do points increase so quickly? Damn it, it's 5 million in such a short time, almost 4 or 5 times that of Sakura Purgatory and God's Whip. Is one of his guilds going to change the entire situation of the ore dispute? God of War Guild, This seems to be a guild in King's Landing. Someone remembered. A moment. Everyone understands. Fuck. This despicable, sinister, and cunning guy kicked us out of the temple, and then he was alone inside to raise points like crazy. No. He's not raising points, he's cheating. In the ore battle mission, if you don't have transport tools such as mine carts to transport ore, you have to carry it on your back. The mission prohibits the carrying of space backpacks. I clearly saw that he had no luck, so I walked in. How could I possibly get 5 million ores? Fuck you. Games developed by people from country Z are full of cheaters. Junlin is the biggest cheater. Protest. Complaint. Quit. Just as everyone was scolding, Kuroda Takeneo, who tore off his black robe and had a face as deep as water, hurriedly teleported to the front of the ancestral temple. He roared angrily at the dwarf warrior guarding the temple door. Pull out your teeth. What happened? Why seal the temple of the ancestors? Is this how you, the dwarves, break the rules at will? Kang. Two huge heavy hammers were placed on Kuroda Takeneo's head. The dwarf warrior said expressionlessly. The Venerable is communicating with the ancestors in the temple, and no one else is allowed to enter the temple. Anyone who dares to break in will be killed without mercy. A fierce murderous aura enveloped Kuroda Takeneo. It also extinguished most of his anger. Dare I ask, who is the venerable person mentioned by adults? Kuroda Takeneo suppressed his anger and asked. The dwarf warrior said with an indifferent face, idle people are not worthy of knowing the name of the venerable. Take now Kuroda. The temple is guarded by powerful dwarf warriors, and Kuroda Takeneo cannot enter at all. I can only wait outside like other players. While constantly refreshing the standings. Bronzebeard Tribe, God of War Guild, 5.1 million. 5.2 million. 6.2 million. 7.2 million. In a short period of time, the points of the God of War Guild have soared by more than 2 million. And this momentum is still rising at a steady and terrifying rate. Takeneo Kuroda can only pray in his heart. Fortunately, the battle for ore is about the total points of the tribe. There are still 46 seconds left before the end. He will definitely not reach 10 million points, definitely not. As long as the total score does not exceed Wild Hammer, no matter how high the God of War Guild's points are, it will be of no use. 8.2 million. 9.2 million. 10.2 million. Just 7 seconds passed. The God of War Guild added another 2 million, and the speed was faster and closer to Kuroda Takeneo's psychological defense line. Kuroda Takeneo's eyes were wide open red, veins popping out on forehead. The Wild Hammer tribe I support has 10.68 million points. He definitely can't surpass. How can he surpass? Kuroda Takeneo couldn't help but scream. 10.4 million. 10.6 million. 12 million. As the God of War Guild's points continue to approach the Wild Hammer tribe's 10.68 million. Kuroda Takeneo's shouts became louder and louder. When it suddenly jumped from 10.6 million to 12 million, it easily overwhelmed the Wild Hammer tribe. Takeneo Kuroda's scream turned into a scream. No. 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 Snowflakes are fluttering and the north wind is rustling, the sky and the earth are one, and vast a cold plum stands proudly in the snow just for the fragrance of my beloved. An inexplicable tune sounded in my mind. Takeshi Kuroda sat on his knees, looking up to the sky and screaming in grief. Inside the temple of the ancestors, Balin, the new king of the Bronzebeard tribe, looked at Suchen helplessly. With his own efforts, he forcibly gained the Bronzebeard tribe's ore points and suddenly rose to the top of the three tribes. It only took a few minutes. And what's used is a divine item like ancient ore. King's Landing brothers. Tears had already blurred Bahrain's eyes. He tried his best to suppress his sobs and looked at Suchen with tearful eyes. For a moment, he couldn't help but think of what Suchen had said to him before. Bahrain, my brother, you forgot, there is me too. As for ore, I dug some too. Brother, the water here is too muddy. I don't want you to get involved, besides, how much ore can you have by yourself? There are already 145 ores. Thinking of this, Bahrain laughed at himself. It turns out that from the very beginning, the Junlin brothers planned to use ancient ore, a magical object, to win the ore dispute for me. But I'm still questioning him. Just like, questioning him and killing an angel instantly with one sword. Balin punched his left chest hard. Recalling Suchen's shocking sword strike that instantly killed bloodthirsty Twaba Hammer. Balin burst into tears. Looking at Suchen, who was still contemplating with his eyes closed. Bahrain shouted in his heart, Bahrain, this is your best brother. You actually question him. Having him as your brother is a blessing that you will never be able to achieve in a few lifetimes. You can never repay his kindness with your life. In Balin's eyes, Suchen was meditating with his eyes closed. In fact, it is merging the 120 pieces I just received, the remnant soul of Muraden, king of the lonely mountain. Ding. The current minimum number of fusion points required, 12 million. Do you want to continue integrating? Oh no. It actually takes 12 million fusion points to fuse. So advanced. Think about the grade of this thing. It is a holy level item after all. And usually, the more fusion points there are, the more powerful the fused item is. Suchen, bite your teeth and put in 15 million fusion points. Choose fusion. Ding. Deducting fusion points, 15 million. In the process of merging. Ding. Fusion successful. Congratulations on obtaining the sacred artifact Solitary Mountain King Muraden Soul *1.